Democrat Socialist that he's really going around the country and endorsing. And they had some victories in New York City in these primaries in districts that are really, they're running unopposed. So there's going to be some Democrat Socialist congressional victories in New York City. But what they're finding is that in the rest of the country, even liberals aren't accepting of this. And so much has come out about the Democratic Socialist of America. They deny they're communist, right? Then just yesterday, it came out that leaders from the Democratic Socialist of America pledged allegiance to the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, the Chinese government. That's confirming they're communist. I covered this on my podcast yesterday afternoon. So they got that off the table, right? That's it. I mean, they are 100% communist. And I know there's a lot of division in some conservative circles. I mean, we all want to see the Democrat Party fade away because the Democrat Party is evil, and the Democrat Socialists are helping bring about the demise of the Democrat Party. But what they're finding is they thought they had this good run in New York City because they had these early victories. What they're finding, though, is the rest of the country aren't accepting of it. You know, there's always been this West Coast, East Coast liberalism in the country. And liberals, in all of their hatred of this country, if you're not on the East Coast or the West Coast, you're in flyover country, they would call it. The rest of the country is flyover country. And the East and West Coast liberals always think they know what's best. They always think they're more enlightened, smarter, and everything else. The opposite is true. But because they only hang out in these East Coast, West Coast liberal circles, they lose touch with reality. And the reality is that you might have some victories in California, you might have some victories in New York City, but you're not going to have victories with that garbage in the rest of the country. Because even Democrats, even liberal Democrats, and most of the rest of the country aren't going to stomach what these communists are pushing. And they're going to have some major failures around the country. But the media, you know, they'll probably cover the handful of victories they get in New York. I give you an example. There's a story here. Let me pull this up. This is getting a lot of press today. In fact, it was the front page story in the New York Post. Let me see if it still is. Let me pull up the New York Post. And it involved Mamdani. No, they took it down from the New York Post. Shocker. Let me find this story. Hold on a second. I know I have it on my X because I did go over this story this morning. I know I posted it to X. I'll find it in just a minute. But what they are finding, oh, here it is. Okay. This is from Fox News, but I did see this in the New York Post this morning. Mamdani not called to speak at New York City funeral of Army sergeant killed in Iranian attack. So not only was Mamdani not asked by the family to speak at the funeral, he wasn't even given a front row seat. He was like in the third or fourth row. In Iran. So this New Yorker, a sergeant, was killed in one of these Iranian attacks. And the family not only did not allow Mamdani to speak, they didn't even give him a prominent place to sit, which means they didn't want him there, and he forced his way in. And all of the reports in the New York Post, Fox News, and elsewhere saying he blew his stack. And he was elected mayor. He won the primary because no one was paying attention. Very low turnout. And then in the general election, the vote was so split that he got very lucky, right? I mean, it was basically a four-way race, and he waltzed in, but they had a very low voter turnout. And even in New York City, and this story is very viral, even in New York City, Democrat socialism is being rejected because they don't want Mamdani there. And you got to wonder, Mamdani, I bet you, he's thinking about that 9/11 event. Is he going to be welcomed at the 9/11 event? Is he going to be treated like he was treated at this funeral? I think he was treated appropriately. Just, you know, people don't want him there. It's the family's funeral, not his. And he wanted to waltz in and make it all about him. and make this brave sergeant's funeral a moment for him to try to convince the American people that he's a New Yorker, that he's an American. And the fact is, he's not in his heart and mind. Okay? And that's it. You know, the other word I'd add to Victor Davis Hanson, other than psychopath, is narcissist. And I guess aren't most narcissists psychopaths? Probably. Exactly. If you are new to the program, welcome. Make sure you subscribe. And if everyone could please like the video, I'd appreciate it. And if you'd like to call in, you're more than welcome to. The number is toll-free, no matter where you are listening, 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you're at. And, of course, all opinions are welcome. Whether you agree or disagree, you can call in and share your thoughts, all right? As always, just like during the week, got a very busy weekend. You know, there's been so much news that's been breaking. It's been nonstop news. And now this one here, this one really blew my mind, and this fits into Mamdani. One of the Democrat socialists that we have out there is this Abdul that's running for Senate in Michigan. And, you know, there's one thing that politicians need to be able to do. They need to be able to read the room. And this guy, Abdul, well, he can't read the room. All right, let me take some calls. If you're on hold, stand by. Let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Oh, hold on a second here. Hold on. There we go. 1, 2, and 3. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning. It's Richie.
Oh, hey, Richie.
You brought up, good morning, by the way. You brought up Mamdani got in the primary and then he won the election because of the split of votes, okay, with Como.
That was a part of it.
Had the guy with the red beret who was supposed to be like the Republican that a lot of people said
Curtis Lewa, yeah.
There's a lot of rumors that he took money.
Yeah.
From Islam to stay in the race because now he's buddy.
And you know, Curtis Lewa, not buddy is an understatement. He made a comedy video with Mamdani right after Mamdani got elected. And did you see Curtis? Did you see Curtis Lewa on the gay pride float a few weeks ago? I was shocked to see that.
No, I didn't watch that. Because the last year I watched it, and I saw 4 commentators that were New York NBC regulars that all are out in the closet and were going crazy over all this. And I just look at it and I say, hey, look, what you do, you don't celebrate your sexuality in public. It's not a celebration. But you are.
Well, he was dancing on. Curtis Lewa was dancing on that float. I mean, it was strange. But you know, when I saw this story,
the money.
When I saw, Richie, hold on while I answer all these phones that are coming in. When I saw this story this morning that the family of the New York sergeant didn't even allow Mamdani to speak. He came to that funeral with a speech, a prepared speech. And they had him sit in the 3rd or 4th row to let him know his place. That gave me some hope for New York.
Well, here's the deal, and here's where I agree with you 100%. But I'm going to say it the way it is. I saw what happened in Spain with all of the migrants coming in.
I know.
And now you got all the countries in Spain panicking. Italy, I believe, wants to put up a wall. I mean, they don't want to let these people because they know what's eventually going to happen.
Yes.
Our form of government, we keep on saying we're so they use it against us. Like, for example, you got New York, which is gone crazy. You have California, which has gone crazy. You have Washington and Portland, Oregon. You have Minnesota. We keep on saying as conservatives, oh, that they're the minority. Don't worry about them. Okay.
Yeah.
Then you start seeing polls where people under 30 want to be socialists and they hate the system.
That's right.
So in the short term, I believe that we will win. You always hear heard you say to people, listen, if you move here, keep your voting record up there. Don't
bring your Democrat vote. Don't bring
your
your Democrat voter registration to Florida. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but it's actually affecting this country.
Mm-hmm.
All of these candidates that putting in are affecting us. It's like a cancer that's starting small that we can't prevent from spreading because of our freedom that we let them.
I give you an example. Like this thing in Spain is an example, Richie. If Spain had a Donald Trump like leader, or like a Meloni in Italy, what they would do is have a blockade around that island. Between them and that and North Africa, between them and that city, so people would not be able to come from that Spanish city into the mainland. But they're welcoming them. I haven't seen them round up any of these Muslims that invaded from Morocco and ship them out.
Yeah, the president says that. I guess he's a president, whatever his title is. He says that this is not a crisis. They're welcome. In other words,
crazy.
Their law. They just changed the law that if they said that if you could get here by sea, you automatically get it free everything.
That's correct.
So what if you're sitting over there in Morocco and you're not having a great life, and you get free healthcare, free this, free that. It's really to the point where people we're not crazy. The world is on nuts, Brian. I see it and I can't believe it. The only country in all of Europe that is safe, you don't see rapes, the crime is so low, it's hardly there. Do you know what country?
Poland.
Because they kept Poland.
Yeah.
They keep out. They say no, we're not going to have this.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct.
And all the rest everyone's called Poland racist.
Yeah. Well, and Spain, Spain has always kind of kept a low profile, and now they're front and center. And Spain is about to collapse in 5 or 10 years. Can you imagine what is Spain going to be like in 5 or 10 years after what we're seeing going on now? Yeah.
I already know. I also know what's going to happen.
It's going to be a mix. It's going to be a mix. Spain's going to turn into a mix of what Venezuela was like under Maduro, and
that leads me to this. Okay, NATO. President Trump is going to pull out of NATO, and you want to know why he's going to pull out of NATO? Basically, NATO is to protect us against Russia and other attacks like the Middle East countries, the Muslims and everything. Well, they're going to be the majority in Europe.
Exactly.
They're already going in so Europe is going to lose. Europe is done. They are done, and NATO is done.
Yeah.
I don't even think NATO realizes that they're killing themselves. I really don't think.
And there's a fascinating thing going on. A lot of people from England, they don't just vacation in Spain. A lot of people from England move to Spain. And so they move full time. And a lot of these Brits that escaped the Islamification of the UK, they're panicking right now. I'm watching some of them on social media. It's over. Europe has fallen. I've never seen it was so. Now I know that's what was going on at our southern border. There's no doubt, for 4 years with Biden, but it was really medieval watching these hordes of invaders hit the beaches in Spain.
Yeah, but the difference between us and Spain, our government, thank you, President Trump, are not like them. They haven't, and Canada, they can't protect themselves. I guarantee you
That's
that
right.
if somebody decides to come into the Brian Craig home uninvited in the middle of the night through a window,
they wouldn't get far.
They're going to go back outside.
They wouldn't
get
far
on the other side.
Yeah.
Right, and they're going to have what do you call it? Sheriff Brady Judge say, hey,
stand your ground.
That's the way it is.
In Spain, the Spanish by nature are lazy. They're a lazy people. So So what
they go siesta.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so they're not. They're not like They're not like Americans who are going to work to push these people out of their country. They're going to go take a nap.
Yeah, I know.
All right, Richie. I'm gonna move on, but it's pretty frightening.
Unbelievable.
All right. Well, you know what President Trump says? Everything woke turns to. That's right, blank. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. Doc from Texas.
Hey, Doc. What's up?
Hey, man. How you this morning?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm doing good. Hey, I just want to tell you, thanks for disconnecting me yesterday, but that's okay. It's all good.
Well, what are you calling about today?
I'm calling because I'm tired. People are talking about. I'm not talking about Dr. Fauci. I'm just talking about COVID in general. Some people are saying this about COVID, this about COVID. A lot of people died.
7 million. 7 million died in the world is the official estimate.
I'm not talking about Dr. Fauci. I don't want to talk about him. I'm just saying people, how they making jokes about COVID. COVID was not a joke.
Who's making jokes?
So many people I see on social media talk about COVID.
I don't know.
And COVID was a lot of people.
I haven't seen anybody making jokes. I haven't seen anybody making jokes.
I see it.
The only time I saw people trying to parody that were the nurses that were making those TikTok music videos in the hospitals during the lockdowns. I remember the nurses doing. Remember all those music videos? Yeah, that seemed to be making fun and humor of the situation. I thought that was in bad taste. Outside the hospital rooms of people dying and they're dancing and doing music videos. Yeah, that's how liberals are,
and
right?
I just think that, And you know, I just thought that was bad. And speaking of nurses, I've been seeing a lot of it on social media too. Nurses, Brian, nursing education are fields that if you don't have the heart, don't go into.
You know, I'm a little confused. I'm a little confused by your call today. It's totally irrelevant to anything that I'm talking about today or yesterday. It's just kind of random. These are just like random thoughts on your mind.
I'm just saying. Because like you was talking about Mandani, which is I don't understand why you talk about Mandani. You live in Florida, he's in New York.
If you lived in Florida, half of Florida is New York.
Okay.
We have a huge and New York, and even that, but that's not even why. New York City is the most important city in the world, not just the United States. That's why Al Qaeda attacked it both times. Okay, so I think you talk about Mandani.
Yeah. I think you talk about Mandani because who he is. I think if he's been a MAGA person, you wouldn't talk about
in fact, if you go through, as I tell you guys often, I have been doing this show for 35 years, every day on the air, right? And whoever the mayor of New York is always a centerpiece of discussion. Always, because New York is the hub of the world, and the mayor of New York is a very high up individoc, and they're like we always talk. Doc, I give you a lot of leeway, but I'm not going to sit here with this childish playground mocking of the way I speak.
You said it, Brian. I'm just repeating what you said.
No, I'm just giving you a warning on that, okay? Whoever the mayor of New York is, they are always a figure of national attention in the debates of everything, always. Giuliani, Mayor Dinkins, and the mayors before, they're always involved in things because so goes New York, so goes the country. And people always have being the mayor of New York City is a bigger deal than being the governor of most states. Right?
I'm just saying you worry more about Mandani. If Mandani was MAGA, you wouldn't worry about New York.
Well, if he was MAGA, he wouldn't be doing the things that worry me.
Leave Mandani alone. Let New York, they put him in there. Let them handle him. If they don't like it, they'll vote him out.
As an example, forgetting about the fact that he's Muslim and the 25th anniversary of 9/11 is coming up, which is a concern, but what he's doing with the grocery stores, these government-run grocery stores, like they had in the Soviet Union. These are.
Okay, the government-run grocery stores.
What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? Well, if you have your own, hold on one second, guys. If you have your own private grocery store, it's a big deal because Mamdani's going to put you out of business.
No, he won't.
Sure.
Trust me, he won't.
Sure, if you've got a government-run grocery store on that street, it puts you out of business. Hey, listen, Doc, I'm going to
No,
move
it
on
doesn't.
because you're not really being relevant today. You're not talking about anything that's going on. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, it's Renee from Harlem.
Oh, hey, Renee. Good morning.
Hey, his name is Mayor Mamdani, you fool.
Mm-hmm.
Try saying it right, and I won't call you Brienne.
Mayor
okay?
Mayor is his title, not his name.
That's his title.
Correct.
Trying using it,
Mm.
and I won't call you Brienne. Okay?
Making any
Use his
deals?
name.
Making deals with you?
You are a racist pig.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not looking to deal with you, idiot.
Mm.
You're a racist.
What
I'm
a,
looking to
very
beat you.
angry. Why
Okay?
you're so angry?
No, I'm smart. You're not.
But you're still angry.
We dominate in sports and music. What we don't
Really?
dominate is in violence.
Really? Does that include the WNBA?
That's your sport.
Oh, okay. All right. Take care. Oh my goodness. No, that's true. That's true. If you're on hold, stand by. My name is Brian. This is the Brian Craig Show podcast where MAGA comes to talk. If you'd like to call in, the number's toll free 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. We'll take a quick break and be right back. On the line, we have Frank. He's a listener and he's a client of Jupiter Joe Thomas. Frank, welcome. So, Frank, could you tell me how Jupiter Joe Thomas helped you?
What he's advertising today and putting out there is a fantastic product for people like me, and there's millions of people like me that want a good sound investment, and they want a good sound, caring, loving investment advisor, and that's Jupiter Joe. He's in the business for like 30 years, and he knows his business. Him and his family make you feel so comfortable. You sit down, and he gives you a real full analysis of what's going on and what he has to offer. And I got into these income streams, these streaming products, and I jumped on it right away. And when he told me what I'm going to get, and I'm getting it right now, on one of them, I was amazed. He doubled what this other so-called investment advisor was offering me, and I'm jumping for joy.
Do what Frank did. Call Jupiter Joe Thomas right now. Schedule your no-charge consultation. Talk to Joe Thomas about annuities and be guaranteed income every month for the rest of your life. 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999 and online, jupiterjoe.com.
Are you looking for a simple way to bring more wellness into your everyday life? You can do just that with Veda Life, your trusted source for premium wellness products inspired by natural living and timeless traditions. From beautifully crafted copper water bottles, copper mugs, to eco-friendly cork yoga mats and wellness accessories, every product is thoughtfully selected to support a healthier lifestyle. Complete your self-care routine with Veda Life's Elegance Bronze Tools, designed to help you relax, refresh, and rejuvenate. Whether you're building a wellness routine or searching for that perfect gift, Veda Life offers quality products you'll enjoy for years to come. They ship worldwide, too, making it easy to experience premium wellness wherever you are. Follow Veda Life on Facebook and Instagram at Veda Life CA. That's VEDA. And visit them online at VedaLife.ca to explore the complete collection. That's VedaLife.ca, where wellness meets quality. VedaLife.ca.
All right, we're back. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm from Texas.
Hey, Texas.
I'm worried about Madonna because, history might repeat itself if, our country would return communist. He doesn't represent what America's about, freedom, faith, and family.
Yeah.
He's all against that, and that's why he's dangerous. I wish Doc would understand that, but he's living in La La Land.
Yeah.
We let him take over.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why we can't do the communist law, which a communist not allowed. 1954, there was a law that said you can't allow communists. Why are these people allowed to run? Can you explain that, Brian?
No, I agree. They should not be. They should not be allowed to. If they win these elections, these Democratic Socialist of America, they should be prohibited from being sworn in to Congress. They should not be allowed to sit in the halls of Congress. Shouldn't happen. These are enemies of the United States who have announced their goal is to abolish our government.
Yeah, you just can't let them take over, and that I'm just scared of that. 'Cause I know history. I'm an old. I studied history in school when they used to, talk about communism, and the younger generation didn't understand that. And then what they did with the groceries, nobody couldn't get a piece of bread.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
That is just not good at all.
Yeah.
And so that's what I worry a whole lot about. And I just don't know what I can do as an individual because I'm just one little person.
No, if, like I said, if you notice, I'm going to play some clips a little later that illustrate this, but the Democratic Socialist of America are being rejected by Democrats. And they're starting to walk, they're trying to rebrand themselves, but it's not going to work. We're on to them.
And another thing, I get insulted by, the liberals, they say I'm just like following what Trump says, but he represents what I believe in, and I've always believed in that all my life. I have a disability, and I feel like I've been able to go to work now, I'm retired, and if I lived in another country, I wouldn't be able to do all the things that I've been able to do. And I feel really blessed living in America.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're right. Well, hey, listen, I appreciate the call.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, take care. Yeah, let me give you an example. This is, I talk a lot about how what we saw in Spain is an invasion, right? I mean, that was literally an invasion, a land invasion. And what's happened in the United States, we're beyond that. We're in this colonization phase. Now, it's been slowed down because President Trump shut down the southern border, okay? And not only did he shut down the southern border, President Trump, there hasn't been any illegal crossings for over a year. But there's a lot of people that have been brought here during the Obama era and the Otto-Penn Biden administration. And this guy, Abdul, it shows you how out of touch with the pulse of the American people this group of individuals are. The Democratic Socialist of America and all of these Muslims that they're running for office. Abdul is the guy running for the Senate in the Democrat primary in Michigan, and he's talking about his name. Listen.
Abdul is as American as any other name in this country. It's one of the strongest American names that you can have.
Really? Abdul is an American name and one of the strongest American names you can. It is not an American name. American names are like Robert, David, right? Steve, Brian, not Abdul. And it really, truly shows you how out of touch with reality. But I'll play the rest of this clip in a moment. But when a group come into a country to conquer it, I tell you this often because we're experiencing this, and I think it's important for people to understand this. When the communists or foreigners come to take over a country, what they do is they rewrite your history and the story of that country to make it sound as if they're a part of the story. And Abdul is not an American name.
Abdul is as American as any other name in this country. It's one of the strongest American names that you can have.
Crazy.
Again, my name is Abdullah Hamoud. Thank God I am not on the ballot, but I hope you all come out and make sure that you vote for the next 4 days. Now put your hands together and help me welcome one of the newest Congress members headed to D.C. to hold it down, Dr. Adam Amawi.
Yeah, Abdul is not an American name. I'm sorry to tell you. And he even goes so far to say as it's the most American name. Are you, what? I mean, there's just some things that are just dumb to say. And that is so far and above anything that's acceptable to people in this country. And what Abdul and those behind him, what they don't understand is, I think that scares people and pisses them off at the same time, right? Don't you think so? I think Americans don't like to hear that. And it scares the daylights out of them. And, there are people inside the Democrat Party like James Carville who are fighting to try to defeat the Democratic Socialist of America. Here's Carville on CNN.
In Michigan. Now, Saeed is highly competent, but he's way left. I see challenges from the quote progressive left, unquote. And these people are too hard-headed to know that they're not popular.
That's right.
People don't like them. And, but if you get a skewed turnout in a primary, you might end up losing a race that you should have never lost in the first place.
When you say progressive left, you sort of, there's a tone of contempt there.
Yes, and you were very wise. I hope the camera was able to pick up the contempt.
Yeah, but you know, James Carville, he's a Democrat establishment guy, but he's not really that influential anymore. And they've come into a point, these Democrat socialists, see what they're doing is they realize that the Democrat socialists understand that they're too fringe to have a successful party. So they're trying to take over the Democrat Party. And Bernie Sanders led the way with the help of the Democrats and the stupidity of Hillary Clinton, who allowed it to happen, and Barack Obama, by the way. But the Democrat Party do not have any leaders now. You know, if this were the 90s, Bill Clinton would be around. And there were other prominent Democrats then too. But they don't have any leaders. It's a leaderless political party right now, right? So they don't have any adults in the room that can take control of things. Now, this is the same guy from CNN. He's interviewing Hassan Piker, and I'll tell you about Hassan Piker. There's a lot of things about Hassan Piker that's pretty frightening. But Hassan Piker, it blows my mind how influential this guy is in these left-wing Democrat circles. These top Democrats have him around all the time. Hassan Piker is to the Democrats today what Rush Limbaugh used to be to the Republicans. Isn't that crazy? Listen, this is Hassan Piker on CNN, same guy that was talking to Carville.
Will you endorse the 2028 candidate if they are pro-Israel in a way that you don't like? If you ultimately are about defeating fascism in this country, you describe it, surely shouldn't you get on board with whoever the main candidate is?
Luckily, I don't think I will have to make that calculation at all, because there is 0% chance that whoever the elected Democrat is that wins the primary will be pro-Israel in any way, shape, or form. You'll see.
Wow, and then something. CNN has this special on the Democrat insurgency, DSA. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Carrie from Oklahoma.
Hey, Carrie, in Oklahoma. What's on your mind?
I'm kind of, with all these DSA people that are running it, don't we need to explore if they can even be seated if they win, because they have allegiances to the Communist Party, and they're apathetic against.
Well, yeah, the leaders of the Democratic Socialist of America have pledged allegiance to the Chinese Communist Party. So I believe that not only if any of these Democrat socialists win in November, they should be refused being seated in Congress, and the Democrat socialists that are there, which would include AOC, Bernie Sanders, and the squad, should be ejected from Congress. Absolutely.
I mean, wouldn't that be constitutional?
If you were the Democrat Socialist of America, but think about this now, they released their party platform about 2 weeks ago, and their party platform is calling for the overthrow of the U.S. government. They want to eliminate the Senate and the presidency. That's the overthrow of the U.S. government. That right there is, they're insurrectionist. That's a violent overthrow of the government they're suggesting, and yeah, I think that's legal and constitutional to not seat them. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I mean, honestly, my opinion is that Trump's just giving them enough rope to hang themselves. That they just need to keep talking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They just need to keep talking. Even if people supported them, we don't have to see them. Well,
they're a very small minority inside the Democrat Party. They're not as popular as people would think. But they're very good with social media, and they have a friendly media that gives them promotion beyond their relevance. So they seem more popular than they are.
But except for the latest poll shows 30% of Democrats support socialism. That's kind of not a small amount.
Well, that's the young people, and I don't know who they poll. They didn't poll that many, and how they question. Young people are always left wing and support left wing ideas. They don't understand why don't you spread the wealth? It's because they still live with their parents or off their parents, and they're not out there working and supporting themselves yet. I always worry what the grown-ups think.
Well, half of if you're a libtard, then you're pretty brain dead anyway.
You've never grown up. Yeah, you're still a child mentally. I get what you're saying. But that poll, I don't want to totally discount that poll, because I do believe it's true. But they're polling young people, and I really don't care what kids think under 30 years old. They're not players. They think they are. They think you're really not an adult until you're about 40, 45. That's when you finally mature. And I'm not worried about what the under 25s think. Because, the under 25, when I was 25, I was, working 2 jobs, married. Now your average 25-year-old guy is spending his time watching porn and playing video games while mom and dad support him, right? So, of course, they love communism and the idea of communism and socialism, because that'll enable them to stay home and play games and watch porn all day, and not go out and get a job like mom and dad keep telling them they need to do.
Well, like I said, I spoiled my kids rotten, but I still expected them to work. They went to work at 16,
Exactly. Well, that's the way it was. It was the way for me too. That's what we did. We worked. Yeah, absolutely. But not this generation. Yeah, Generation Z is a generation of lazy people.
Yeah, COVID really affected that group.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
COVID lockdowns really affected it. I mean, we're seeing the repercussions from COVID. Just like we're going to see the repercussions from the vaccine for another 10 years.
Well, COVID, what COVID did, what the lockdown period did, was change a lot. This is why so many shopping malls have shut down. That's why the movie business has gone out of business. I mean, it's changed. I mean, people don't go to grocery stores even anymore to shop. People aren't going to restaurants. They're ordering the door. It was a big change in the way people live their lives in the country.
Yeah, they infiltrated, by control. They controlled, and it amazed me how many people, believe it. I mean,
well, yeah, and I'll tell you, like I mostly work from home, right? Like yesterday, I was at the radio station yesterday, and I have meetings and things that I do during the day. But I mostly broadcast from my studio at home and do my work at home. But when I'm home, working from home, I get up, I take a shower, I get dressed. I'm not standing here with pajama bottoms on, okay? I could. On YouTube, you only see me like from my waist up. But I get up, and you've got a generation with Gen Z and millennials where they never even get dressed. They want to stay home in their pajamas all day and do nothing. It is a very unproductive, and this is, by the way, by design. This is what the globalists want. They want a lazy population, but we're not going to let that happen.
Yeah, I hope we don't. I mean, I hope we don't, because, look, we're in a world of hurt.
Indeed.
If we don't win the midterms, then we're done as a country, because,
we're going to win the midterms. We're going to win the midterms. If we have we got to have a big turnout, but we're going to win. I have no doubt. But
I hope you're right, Brent.
the only thing that will stop us from winning is if we don't swamp them at the polls. And I'm going to tell you a couple reasons why we're going to win. Okay, one, the Democrats have no platform, none. There's also a civil war going on inside the Democrat Party between the establishment Democrats and the Democrat Socialist. And we also did this redistricting. You don't have these racially segregated black districts anymore. And we've done a lot of redistricting around the entire country. So there's and Trump is incredibly popular, and the Trump agenda is popular. Voter ID is over 80% of voters support it. You know, so no, we're poised to win the midterms and gain in both houses if we have a massive turnout and swamp them at the polls.
Yeah. Yeah, we have. It's all about turnout.
Mm-hmm.
Too big to rig.
Yeah.
Too big to rig.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, they're these polls and everything that you see. You think that they're accurate. They're, saying that
They're not.
might.
They're not accurate.
I don't think so.
They're not accurate.
I've never been polled. I mean, how many times have you been polled? I've never been polled.
Once or twice, but not for over 20 years. But the thing about the polls, how do we even know they poll people? The polls that you and I. Hold on. Well, listen, I got to run, but I appreciate your call.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Take care. The polls we see are called push polls. They're polls meant that the media do mostly, but they're called push polls because the polls are meant to push public opinion and perception in certain directions. They're not accurate scientific polls. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, what's up, Brian? It's Kevin. How you doing, bro?
All right, Kevin. What's up?
Hey, I think, with Trump's his first term, he did the best he could with COVID and the vaccine, and then losing the election to Biden or whatnot. But I think his second term, has really shown that, he is a pedophile.
Come on.
He loves those pedophiles.
I mean, the only thing you love about that is, is saying the word over and over again. I mean, it's amazing how many of these guys just love to say that word over and over and over again. I mean, look what just happened yesterday. Hamas surrendered. They laid down their weapons. And Hamas surrendering shows you the great victories that we've had with President Trump in Iran. Hamas was a front group for Iran, and Iran cannot even support Hamas anymore. That's why they surrendered. Trump is responsible for the surrender of Hamas. All right, now if you're on hold, hang in there. The number is 888-465-2631. We'll take a quick break and be right back.
Life can leave us with a lot of questions. Why did this happen to me? Why do I keep repeating the same patterns? And where is God in all of it? If you've ever asked those questions, you need to tune into the Healing Philosophers Podcast with The Healing Philosopher on Spotify. Through honest conversations and real-life experiences, each episode explores topics like healing from past hurts, generational karma, letting go of what's holding you back, understanding narcissism, and discovering how God can use even life's hardest moments for a greater purpose. The Healing Philosophers Podcast is about finding hope, growing in your faith, and realizing that your story and every season of your life has meaning. Add the Healing Philosophers Podcast to your Spotify playlist, and make sure to share the podcast on all your social media, and invite your friends and family to listen in too. Your share could be exactly what someone else needs right now. The Healing Philosophers Podcast with the Healing Philosopher on Spotify. Healing starts with one conversation. Listen now on Spotify. If you're a business owner, founder, or marketer, you already know that great content matters. The problem is finding the time to write it or the budget to keep hiring writers. That's where maywrites.co comes in. Think of maywrites.co as your on-demand writing employee. Need blog posts? No problem. Newsletters? They do that too. LinkedIn content? No worries. Website copy? Even an ebook? Just send your request. There's no pre-word charges, no per-project invoices, and no surprise cost. With maywrites.co, you get unlimited writing requests for one simple monthly rate. It's like having a professional writer on your team. You'll get fast turnaround, consistent quality, and the freedom to stop worrying about who will write your next piece of content. Best of all, you can try it free for 7 days. If it's not the right fit, you can cancel anytime. Stop chasing writers, stop paying by the project, and start creating more content with less stress. Visit maywrites.co right now. That's maywrites. Maywrites.co. Your on-demand writing employee.
All right, welcome back. Nope.
We are Laporta Roofing.
1 second, guys.
Business since 1983. You are our customer. In other words, our boss. We are here for and because of you, not the other way around. The 2026 rainy season is upon us. Because we haven't had a hurricane in 2 years, all the storm chaser roofing companies
gone out of business, leaving only the strongest and the best contractors. At LaPorta Roofing, we will never sell you a roof you don't need. We don't have salesmen or commissions, so we will never pressure you to sign a contract. Also, deposits are not required. At LaPorta Roofing, you will always come first. We must earn your trust, and we will. So call me on my cell at 954-604-4602 or find us on the web at laportaroofing.com. That number again is 954-604-4602, 954-604-4602, or on the web at laportaroofing.com.
Yeah, welcome back, everyone. And, Tom LaPorta at LaPorta Roofing covers both the east and west coast of Florida and everywhere in between. From the Atlantic coast, where I'm at, all the way over to the Gulf of America coast and everywhere in between. And what he says in that recorded commercial there is no contracts. That is unheard of in that type of industry. Give him a call. This number rings directly to Tom LaPorta's cell phone. You can call or text 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. And online, laportaroofing.com. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. If you'd like to call in, the number is toll-free, 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you're listening, and if you're watching live on YouTube, the number is pinned in the live chat. Yeah, so this story came out yesterday. This is from Fox News about the Democratic Socialist of America. Okay, I mean, this pledging to defend China alone is treason, and without question, they should be abolished. I mean, with the left, what's happened in the left. See, liberals got a lot of problems. Okay, there's a lot of problems with the left, but if I had to list the biggest problem that the Democrats have, and this is consistent with the liberals going back forever. Okay, and this is always their undoing. Liberals have a boundaries issue, right? There's no boundaries, and what happened is they got a victory with Mamdani. So after they got this Mamdani victory, these Democrat Socialist of America communists thought, well, the country's on our side, not realizing that New York is always to the left of everyone in the country except California. So they put these Democrat Socialists up all over the place, running their mouth with their Democrat Socialist of America communist ideology. And what they do is they do casting, like you cast for a movie or a television show. And they cast people that fit the mold of that community. Like Graham Plattner, the Nazi, was perfect. They thought, oh, he's an everyday working man. He fits the bill. They cast him, and then the Nazi tattoo didn't get him out of it, but the rape allegation did. Now they got this other guy that I was talking about on yesterday's podcast who has 2 children with his second cousin, another freak the Democrats have. But he's a logger, so they're casting. In Texas, they cast Tallarico. And the Democrat Socialist of America, one of the things that the left are obsessed with is trying to win back the white male vote. They're never going to win the white male vote. And Tallarico, I got to tell you, you look at this, Tallarico did this interview. He kind of looks like Elliot Page, right? Doesn't he? Yeah, absolutely. And I remember when I first heard of Tallarico, he was being presented as a Christian, right? A leftist Christian who preached in churches. Listen to this, Tallarico, running for Senate in Texas.
And then the last one is maybe the most insidious. It was a new state curriculum that would teach Christian Bible stories as historical fact, as the only truth to our youngest students. And I mean kindergarten, first graders. These are kids who aren't able to think for themselves yet. They haven't formed their own worldviews. And push propaganda, to push indoctrination on those youngest students is deeply immoral. And then the last one is maybe the most insidious. It was a new state curriculum that that would teach Christian Bible stories as historical fact, as the only truth to our youngest students. And I mean kindergarten, first graders. These are kids who aren't able to think for themselves yet. They haven't formed their own world. And to push propaganda, to push indoctrination on those youngest students is deeply immoral.
It's immoral to talk about Christianity in the schools. Now, when I was in school, I went to school in the 70s and the 80s. And while I was in school is when the liberals made their move to kick Jesus and the Bible out of schools. And, the Democrats have always been communist, okay, in the modern era. But the difference is they were in the closet before, okay? Now they came out of the closet. And they're openly communist now. And if you go around where there have been communist revolutions in the country, when the communists take control, one of the first things they try to do is get rid of Christianity. And the reason they do that is because Christianity gets in the way of the state's moral code, right? That's what, do you know what the Soviet Union's official religion was? Atheism. Same thing in Cuba. Now, they got large populations, like Cuba is a Hispanic country. So, there's a lot of Catholics there. And, you had the Russian Orthodox Church and even Russian Jews, but they were oppressed. And one of my memories of Christianity, I remember a couple of moments in school when there was regular prayer. I'll give you a great example. Is football games. You'd go to football. When I was a kid in school, you would go to football games, and there would be prayers on the football field at the school before the games. Prayers to Jesus. In 1983, during the after the barracks bombing in Beirut, when the Iranians did that, by the way, I remember I was in 7th grade then. It was 1983. This was here in Florida. I started school in Florida in 5th grade. And the principal came on, made an announcement during the school announcements, said a prayer, and then a Christian prayer, and then we had a moment of silence. That was in 1983. And then I remember in 5th grade, this was something else. This was in 5th grade, and this was also in Florida. They had these two guys went to every classroom in my school, and they would come into the class during class and offer to give away for free pocket editions of the New Testament, red letter edition. And for you lefties out there, the red letter edition in the New Testament, the red lettering, that's when Jesus speaks. It's in red. And it didn't even have the Old Testament. I wish I still had that pocket New Testament, because I think about it all the time. And they came to the school and went to each classroom during class. Those are the kind of things you can't do anymore. And I remember my grandfather this was around that time. So this was around 82, 83. I remember prayer, and I was a little kid, but I remember looking back that prayer in public schools that the liberals were trying to get rid of was being debated because my grandfather had a bumper sticker on his car, and it said, "Let our children pray," and then it had two hands like praying, on the bumper sticker on his car. So, but I remember those things. But now they've totally wiped out Christianity in the public square. The Democrats have always been communist. The Democratic Socialist of America, it's not new, okay? It's not new. But what's new about it is they're out of the closet now, right? And the United States is a Judeo-Christian country, and we do not have separation of church and state in this country. That's a liberal urban legend. And Tallarico and these other Democrats, they have done so much damage to the Democrat Party. They're not going to recover from this for many years, the Democrat Party, if they recover from it at all. Here's another Democrat socialist who's talking about 9/11. Okay, I mean, by the way, she is running for the New York State Senate, and according to Laura Loomer, in the latest polls, she's expected to win her seat in the New York State Senate. So here you have a Democratic Socialist of America. She's Muslim. She's running for New York State Senate, expected to win. She's wearing the traditional Muslim clothing, and here she is talking about 9/11.
And so, like, and finding that, like, you know, the system of capitalism and racism, and white supremacy, etc., have all, and Islamophobia have all been used, you know, to colonize lands, right, to take resources from other people. And so this is like a long trajectory, and we're just seeing the manifestations of that continuation, right, with 9/11. And so a lot of times when people are asking to respond about, you know, attack, right, when if you look back, like, historically, right, you know, a lot of us come from lands that were colonized, lands where wars are being waged, right, a lot of times because of U.S. policy or the policies in Europe. And so I find that we can connect over that, but then also that the idea that we have to apologize for, like, a terror attack that, like, a couple people did, and then there is no apologies or reparations for genocide and for slavery, etc., is something that I kind of find, like,
Wow, she's talking 9/11, something a couple of people did. Remember, Ilhan Omar said some people did some things. Now it's a couple people did that. I mean, gee whiz. You know, and the reason is because she's from the Muslim world, and her worldview is not an American worldview, or even a worldview from Western civilization. You know, this is when I tell you guys this is the most important midterm election that I've ever been involved in. That is not an understatement. And I know people like to say this is every time there's an election, you hear people say this is the most important election of your life. Well, they're always the most important because they're the one you're dealing with right now. The past elections have already happened, right? And the future elections, who's knows? So the one that's always now is, by definition, the most important because it's the one that's happening. But this is more than that, okay? These Democrat socialists like her are going to have some victories. And what they're going to do, and they're going to have a lot of defeats, but you're not going to hear about the defeats. You're only going to hear about the handful of victories they get in these wackadoodle districts in New York and maybe Colorado, who knows. And these people are going to be put on a pedestal and elevated far beyond where they should be, okay? And even though we're going to win the midterms, this handful of Democrat socialists, it's going to, the way that the left are going to portray this is that there's been this big Democrat Socialist of America wave across the country. So prepare yourselves for that, because that is what they always do. If you're on hold, hang in there. If you'd like to call in, please do. The number is toll-free 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. I want to take a moment to talk to those of you out there that are Medicare recipients. You know, Chapter covers the entire United States. So no matter where you are in the United States, the number that I'm giving out for Chapter, call them, they can help you. Chapter will review your Medicare policy at no charge, and it'll be reviewed by a licensed Medicare advisor while you're on the phone. And because Chapter is a national company, they have access to all of the over 25,000 Medicare policies that are out there. And they'll review your policy, compare it to all these others, and make sure that you have the right policy for you. Make sure that you have the policy that covers what you need covered, covers your prescriptions, your doctors, your specialist, and a policy that you're not paying too much for. Now, if the policy you have is great and the right one, they'll tell you that too, and it costs you nothing. Give Chapter a call, 805-754-3033. 805-754-3033. That's 805-754-3033. We'll take a quick break and be right back.
Modern life doesn't come with an instruction manual. It comes with endless notifications, distractions, and a zillion other pursuits to it. But what if getting your life back on track couldn't actually be possible? You just need the right help and guidance. And that's where you'll find it. Get done. While your brain isn't built for 20 is available right now on Amazon and Kindle, paperback, and free with Kindle Unlimited. Just go to Amazon and search Newt Steele, Knute, and get on with living. Our world is filled with confusion, deception, and uncertainty. Where can you turn for the truth? Bible Prophecy and Truth is a Christ-centered ministry dedicated to proclaiming the gospel of the Lord Jesus Christ and shining the light of God's Word into a world darkened by deception. Discover powerful videos that explain what the Bible says about salvation and what you must do to be saved. Explore fascinating teachings on Bible prophecy, the rapture. There's also an in-depth creation versus evolution study that will strengthen your faith and deepen your understanding of Scripture. And that's just the beginning. Whether you're a lifelong believer, a new Christian, or simply searching for answers, Bible Prophecy and Truth offers biblical teaching rooted in God's truth. Visit videos.prophecyandtruth.com. That's videos.prophecyandtruth.com and discover the truth, strengthen your faith, and grow closer to Jesus Christ. Videos.prophecyandtruth.com.
Welcome back, everyone. My name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Thanks for joining. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, guys. And if everyone could like the video, I'd appreciate that, guys. When you like the video, it gets the video recommended to people that have not yet found the channel on YouTube. So please like the video. And if you're listening on one of the audio podcast platforms, make sure you follow and subscribe there as well. It's always free to do. I was looking over my comments. Somebody left this comment on one of my YouTube videos. They're talking about me, okay? And I'm not sure, is this an insult or a compliment? This is one of the biggest MAGA a-holes out there. They said the whole word. Well, I take that as a badge of honor. Thank you very much. Yes, I'm a deplorable, and I support our great MAGA king, Donald Trump, the greatest president ever. Yeah, that's right. I'm MAGA. I'm MAGA for life, and make no mistake about it. I don't, if you're going to try to insult me, try to think of something else other than calling me MAGA. Oh my goodness, I tell you, people crack me up. You got to wonder, your average American that's not supportive of President Trump, what kind of person is that? The president had this cabinet meeting at Camp David yesterday, which was a very good one. I think this is the first time we've seen them have a cabinet meeting at Camp David. Here he is talking about Spain. Yep. Yeah, he's right about that. I mean, that's and what he's talking about is if, God forbid, we get a Democrat in the White House, what's happening right now at the southern border, that's what they want here, right? That's exactly what they want in this country. Let's see here. Oh, look at this. These are some liberals. We were talking earlier, I was talking to a caller earlier about the government grocery stores of Mamdani. I was talking to Doc about this. Here's some liberals talking about the government grocery stores.
What's your take here, Freeberg? Are you in favor of people paying less for groceries, or are you a free market monster that wants people to pay full price for groceries.
Oh my goodness, a free market monster? This is the All In podcast, by the way, this is on. A free, what did he say? A free market monster? Hold on.
Freeberg, are you in favor of people paying less for groceries, or are you a free market monster that wants people to pay full price for groceries?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, you got to pay full price. You got to pay the price, and for people that can't afford groceries, we have EBT, right? That's what EBT is for. Oh my goodness. Let me play the whole thing.
What's your take here, Freeberg? Are you in favor of people paying less for groceries, or are you a free market monster that wants people to pay full price for groceries? Especially starving poor families.
I've seen nothing but negative comments on the future failure of these grocery stores on Twitter, and I think that people have it wrong.
Well, but this is another thing too. They have it wrong. In Cuba, in the Soviet Union, and in other communist countries, in North Korea, they have government grocery stores. Do you know what government grocery stores do not have that we have in American grocery stores? What's the difference between an American privately owned grocery store in the United States and a government-owned grocery store in North Korea, the old Soviet Union, and Cuba? What do we have that they don't in their government grocery stores? You know what it is? What do you think? We have something in our private grocery stores that the government-owned grocery stores of North Korea and Cuba and the Soviet Union don't have. You know what that is? It's pretty simple. Food. We have food in our grocery stores, and they don't, right? And during the Soviet Union days, it was a running joke that these stores had nothing in them. That was what we used to hear, and this was true. People waiting in line just for a roll of toilet paper. All right, let's go more of this. These are some really liberal loons on this program here.
What's your take here, Freeberg? Are you in favor of people paying less for groceries, or are you a free market monster that wants people to pay full price for groceries? Especially starving poor families.
We don't have starving poor families in this country. We have a social welfare net to help those people. I mean, I thought the liberals told us we had an obesity problem. People were eating too much. Now they're not eating enough? Which is it, liberals?
The future failure of these grocery stores on Twitter, and I think that people have it wrong. I think these grocery stores are going to be wildly popular. They're going to pay their employees above market wages. Employees are not going to have to work very hard to work there, so they're going to be a better place to work.
They're not going to have to work hard.
They're going to outperform Whole Foods. They're going to outperform Safeway. They're going to outperform Albertsons. They're going to be so in demand that what will end up happening is that over the next 24 months, every other city in America will look to these grocery stores and say, we want the same. Yes. Why does only New York get these grocery stores? Why?
Oh my goodness, is this a comedian? Oh my goodness, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, this is Faith from Michigan.
Hey, what's up, Faith?
Okay, after hearing Doc's call and, everything that's going on, I felt really compelled. I definitely had to call in. I don't know how anyone could say it's not important to talk about Mondavi and everything going on. I am the granddaughter of legal immigrants that came through New York
Awesome.
from Finland. And New York is important. One thing in America, we have freedom of choice. And, okay, even the grocery store thing that he's trying to set up is a complete trap. When we go to a grocery store, we have freedom of choice. There's any selections. And when it's government run, it would be, what he's proposing would have to be paid by the taxpayers. It is definitely a communist style of grocery store.
Well, it's so bizarre to me because we've seen the failure of government grocery stores in all the communist countries, right? And, but it's the beginning of something. First, you have the government grocery stores, and then you're going to have the government owning all the stores that sell everything.
Exactly. And it's another way, it's a trap. Control the food, control the people.
That's right.
If there's someone's controlling your food and your choices, you're automatically limited.
Yeah.
It's just another way of trying to take over, and people need to wake up. These rich people that say, "Oh, just let it be. What happens over there, it doesn't matter," because they're in their own comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
Wake up! Wake up!
Yeah,
We
exactly.
don't want to be taken over.
And you know,
we
so
do not want to be taken
so
over.
far as government grocery store, you know, the private grocery. By the way, thanks for the call. Great call. I agree with what you say. The thing with the grocery stores in this country, we have a lot of them, right? And there's different tiers at the grocery stores. You know, in my neighborhood, we have just 5 minutes from my house, we've got multiple Publixes, which are the big grocery store in Florida. We've got Aldi. Grocery store at Target. We have Whole Foods. Got a Sprouts. There's another gourmet grocery store. Of course, there's a couple of Walmarts in the neighborhood. You know, and here's the thing: there's different tiers, right? So you know, you can go to different stores based on your budget. That's it. Right? You can go to Walmart and get, you know, the lowest prices. You can go to Aldi and get lower prices, or you can go to Publix or Whole Foods and pay a little bit more. But we have in the United States, there is zero need for government grocery stores because we have EBT and a social welfare net for people that are in those situations. So there's no need or purpose for it. The only reason to have government grocery stores is you have communists that are trying to make inroads to make this a communist country. And this is something that they think will make a lot of people excited and get their foot in the door, right? They're just trying to get their foot in the door. And once you invite them in, they're like vampires. Vampire can't come into your house unless you invite them, right? But once they're in, and they can do whatever they want. And that's what these commies are trying to do from the Democratic Socialist of America. They're like vampires. They're using these grocery stores, these government grocery stores, to get inside your house. Here's Hassan Piker, and he has this Democrat Socialist on. This is just in June, and he is... she's the one, Hong, who's running for governor of Wisconsin. She's been doing a lot of interviews. She was on Fox the other day. Here she is with Hassan Piker. Okay, now this is, I mean, free everything and no data centers. Okay, don't data centers power the internet? Aren't data, I don't understand. I know why people don't like data centers in their neighborhoods, because they make that bzzz noise and they use a lot of electricity and they need to have their own power plants and such. But data centers are the, they're the plumbing of the internet. And everybody uses the internet, and Hassan Piker's an internet host of a show. So the more people that use the internet, the more infrastructure you need for the internet. That's where the data centers are coming in. Believe me, I understand the problems with electricity and water. I'm not oblivious, but we're not going to stop using the internet. But anyway, back to this. What the hell is right to repair? Can anyone tell me what right to repair is? I have no idea what that means. I don't speak commie.
Legalizing cannabis. Yes. Overturning Citizens United. Yes. A workers' bill of rights. Yes. Free Palestine. Yes.
She's running for governor of Wisconsin. Oh my goodness. Yeah, she's a Hong. She's from Korea originally, and it doesn't say in any of the articles I've read whether she's from North Korea or South Korea. I don't know. Does anyone know? I don't know. She talks like a North Korean, not a South Korean. Isn't that something? What is the right to repair? Can someone tell me? I have no idea what that is. Oh my goodness. So Spain is being invaded. Here's CBS News talking about the Muslim invasion of Spain.
We got a statement from the Prime Minister of Spain who says that they're speeding up repatriation of the migrants who have entered Ceuta irregularly since yesterday. But
What does that mean? They're speeding up repatriation, what, into Spain or back to Morocco?
we should note that a country has the right and the obligation to control its borders. But when you watch thousands of
But
people like you're watching here on your screens, willing to risk their deaths, willing to risk drowning just for the chance of a better life, it's also worth asking, what are they running from?
what are they running from? Morocco? I've never heard of any problems in Morocco.
Part of Spain, Ceuta, this is like a 10-mile swim as well. So imagine the degree of danger involved. Look at these little kids on floaters out there.
What little kids? These are grown men with the floaters. Give me a break.
Look at these little kids on floaters out there.
You have to think to yourself, no one wakes up and says, today I want to risk my life swimming to another country.
Who says there's a risk? It looks like they have all kinds of boats coming with them and everything else. My liberals are idiots. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. It's Danny from Brooklyn.
Hey, Danny.
Just want to know if anybody cleared you up on the right to repair.
Yeah, no, I have no idea what that is.
It's so it's like if you buy a John Deere tractor and something breaks on that tractor, you have to bring it to a John Deere dealership. I think Apple has these things too. Like you don't have the right to repair.
Hold on a second here. Hold on a second here. Hold on a second. I don't own a John Deere, okay, but I do own Apple products. Like right now I'm live streaming on my Mac, right? No, you can take your John Deere anywhere to get repaired.
I'm just saying theoretically. I'm not entirely sure that.
No. But it may void your warranty. That's not what he's talking about.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. That's the right to repair. Like you should still be able to carry a warranty. Or some people.
No, that's not what that is. Like as an example, if you have a new car.
No, look it up.
If you have a new, I don't have to look it up. I live life. If you have a new car, you can get it repaired by an authorized mechanic. You can't have it worked on by an unauthorized mechanic or you void the warranty. That's not what Hassan Piker is not talking about warranties on John Deere tractors. No way.
No, but that's the right to repair your own things. Like they will sue you. Like you will get sued if you do it.
No, that's not what Hassan. That's not what Hassan. All right, I appreciate the call. That's not what Hassan Piker is talking about. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. Good morning. I was going to say when you you had me laughing this morning when you were asking about what's the difference between our stores and the other stores. I just started laughing.
Yeah.
I think you had everybody listening laughing because I was just.
Well, wasn't the answer obvious when I asked?
Yeah, food. I'm just sitting here going, it's food,
Yes.
food. And I was literally laughing hysterical. And yesterday's show, you had the who's on first cousin, what's on second cousin talk. I mean, that was, you've had me going a couple of times.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
I want to thank you for that.
Make the news entertaining. That's a good thing.
Yes, you gotta have entertainment mixed in, or you lose the audience. So
That's correct.
Beautiful.
That's correct.
I look at these. You're just talking about the communist inroads. I mean, these food stores. The man on the end, whatever that podcast was, saying, other states are going to want them. No, they're not going to want them because they're not going to work. They may work in the short term. The thing about communism and the inroads, the little wins that they're going to get here and there in the populations where, listen, stupid people believe stupid things. And
This
they
is
love to
true.
hear other people, talk about, mention their own box of chocolates or their bag of nuts. If they love to hear that, and those are the people they'll get elected in certain spots.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about communism in reality is that forget the human condition and psychology of it all. But if they don't control if they don't have control of the media, they can't keep people from seeing. People will see the failure in the sunlight.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they'll see it. Opposed to in the past, where if it was a real communist country, you never see that failure because they bury the evidence and they bury the people who talk about it. But they won't get away with it. So in a way, these little, I think we talked about this a few weeks back. What was going on in New York? It's going to be like a spotlight. Look here, everybody. Look at the disaster, because American people especially the older generation, are not going to fall for this crap.
Well, let me tell you. I talk about this thing with the government. A couple things about the government grocery stores, and I want to give you guys something that you should really watch about this. I have a lot of people don't know this. In Florida, the big grocery chain is Publix, and I know they've moved out of Florida to some other states. But Publix store managers often retire millionaires. A lot of people don't know this, and I've got an uncle who's been a Publix store man. He's retired now, and they're wealthy, but the profit sharing. Publix managers, not just the store managers, but the lower level managers and all full-time employees are involved. They get every 3 months they do an inventory at Publix, and then they know how much that store made in profits. The full-time employees get profit sharing bonuses based on the profits of the store. The store managers get huge bonuses on the profit of the store. And there's other privately owned grocery stores have similar things. I know about Publix because when I was a kid, I used to work at Publix, and my uncle, it was a store manager. Yeah. But other private grocery stores in this country do as well. So there is a motivation for the managers to move product and sell product for a profit that keeps the store going. You take that out of government grocery stores and you're done. And there's a great television series that I have watched in its entirety 2 or 3 times. The Americans. It's an FX. You familiar with The Americans?
Yes.
Okay.
I haven't watched the whole thing. I've watched bits and pieces.
Oh, for those that don't know, The Americans. What got me watching it is it took place in the 80s and everything else, and that's when I grew up, so I was excited to see that. But it's about these Soviet spies in the United States living as Americans undercover, and it's a very good show. And in later seasons, hold on while I answer all the lines coming in. In later seasons, they're in the Soviet Union. And there's an entire storyline about the government grocery stores in The Americans and all the corruption going on with the government grocery stores. And they even point out how the people that are at the high levels of the government shop at different grocery stores than the regular people. And they actually show you the government-owned grocery stores in the Soviet Union, and you can see what they're like. It's called The Americans. You can watch it on Hulu, and it's a very good show anyway. But, the government grocery stores is just stupid. Did I lose you? No, hold on. I think I got my lines mixed up. Okay, hold on. 1, 2. I got my lines mixed up. Okay, are you with me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I lost you. I lost you. But anyway.
I turned the TV volume up so I could hear what you were saying.
Yeah, but go watch. Yeah, they have a whole storyline in one of the later seasons on the government grocery stores in The Americans. And it seems it's so relevant today. So go and watch that.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's good for a lot of people. At least they can get an understanding of what's going on. But the business model with Publix, skin in the game business models are usually very successful if they're managed by competent people.
I mean, think about where you go. Where do you go where the government operates that you don't dread going to, right? The post office, the DMV, places like this. These are the worst places to go.
Yeah, they're not built on, the government philosophy is not one of meritocracy. It's one of, if it, don't fix it. If it's not, it's just basically don't fix things.
Yeah, I remember
it's almost like the medical.
Yeah, I remember when Obamacare was being debated. I was in line at the post office. There was a long line and I heard this guy in line say, "Oh, this is what Obamacare is going to be like. I'm going to be waiting in line to see the doctor." Americans don't like that crap, and we're pretty wise to it. Hey, listen, I got to move on, but I appreciate the call. All right, take care. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, it's Chris, the only heterosexual liberal in Los Angeles.
Oh, okay. What's up?
We talked yesterday.
I remember.
Hey, man. So you're talking about government grocery stores.
Well, we're talking about Mom Donnie trying to put out of business the private grocery stores in the city. But yeah.
Oh, is he trying to do that?
Yes.
I mean, from what I've heard, he's opening up. I think maybe there's one test one. I think it's like 3 or 4 pilot ones where they're basically selling grocery stores at cost. Groceries at cost.
Yeah, and they don't. So yeah, but the other grocery stores have to make a profit.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I don't know if, I mean, economically speaking, incentively speaking, it seems obvious that everyone is just going to go to the one where they sell it at cost. But I wonder how they're going to control that.
Well, first off, let me answer. My lines are ringing off the hook. What do you mean? How are they going to control what?
Well, so if they, to speak to your point, if they have, let's say, 3 grocery stores where they're selling everything at cost, it's much cheaper than the other grocery stores that are selling them.
That's right.
Price.
So yeah. So the ones that regular price that he's trying to put out of business private grocery stores.
I guess that would be de facto doing that.
Yeah.
But I mean, there is a huge problem with
With what?
Basically, all the grocery stores in the United States are owned by like 2 companies, right? There's basically like a monopoly on grocery prices.
That's not true. I went through this in my neighborhood, within 2 to 3 miles of my house. Okay, I've got 2 Publixes, I've got an Aldi, a Target, 2 Walmarts, a Whole Foods. There's a 3rd Publix. I just forgot about. There's a Sprouts. That's within 2 miles of my house. I've got 7 grocery stores, and they're owned by different companies.
They're of different names, but
no, Walmart and Target and Publix and Whole Foods and Sprouts. These are all different companies.
Right, but most people who live in where do you live?
I live in Florida.
Okay, you live in a big city in Florida?
I live in South Florida. Yeah, I live in a metropolitan area. I live in South Florida.
Yeah, I mean, I have a Ralph's, and I mean, Kroger owns, they have a whole family of stores that go by different names.
Yeah, so what?
And I think if we looked at the percentage, by like 2 or 3 handfuls.
So what?
So what's been happening?
Don't you? Well, hold on a second here. And I know California. You have Walmarts and Targets in California. They sell groceries. And one thing I noticed about California because my daughter moved to Los Angeles. So I go visit my daughter, and I go to, you've got all kinds of things. You've got Korean grocery stores, you've got Mexican grocery stores. Yeah, I mean, you've got more grocery stores and different kinds of grocery stores than I've ever seen anywhere. There's no shortage of food or grocery stores. Okay, there's no need for government grocery stores.
No, there's not. But Sorry, I'm speaking too much. What my point is that there is documented evidence, proof that the 2 or 3 companies that own most of the grocery stores have been basically inflating costs artificially just to boost up their profits.
Then you go to another grocery store. Yeah, it's called capitalism. Do you know how you determine the value of a good you're selling in a business? How do you determine what to sell? How do you determine?
How much someone's willing to pay for it.
Correct. There you go. You're right. Okay, you're coming around. Economics 101. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, this is Dean from Orlando.
Hey, Dean.
I called last week. You thought I was a lawyer because I knew some stuff about law with regards to an incident happening. But
hold on a second. My phones are ringing off the hook here, so let me answer the lines. All right, yeah, go ahead.
I just want to bring you up to speed on right to repair. There's a Right to Repair Act, H.R. 566, sitting in Congress, going through some revisions. I know that there's this idea that you could never agree with anything somebody says, but a broken clock is right twice a day, even still, right? There are things
not
that
necessarily
on a Democratic Socialist ticket that they will use to manipulate people. This right to repair is not their issue. It never has been. They won't support it. They don't believe in it. They will make claims all over the place about how much they're going to support things and make it better for the American people. It is not their goal. It's not their intent. They're perverters of actual.
Well, so when Hassan Piker, who says America deserved 9/11, says he supports the right to repair, what's he talking about?
All right, the right to repair is about information with regard specifically to cars. That's the one. It's an automotive one.
Well, President Trump just didn't sign an executive order on that.
Well, because it's going through Congress right now in the Right to Repair Act in H.R. 5.
Okay. All right. That's all I need to know. I don't need to know any more about it because it sounds boring. But President Trump just signed it. But I appreciate the call. No, it sounds incredibly boring. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian, IB, good morning.
Hey, IB.
You know those little animals in the African desert that poke their head out of the hole, and they stick their head back down and they run up on the little hill and they look to see where the danger is before they scurry and do what they do. I've been talking about the May Vang when Ted Cruz mentioned her before. These people are the ones sticking their head out of the hole now. We're seeing them as Marxists and communists, and we're now seeing their faces. We haven't heard about these people until recently. Who are they? Where have they been? And who put them there? And now we're talking about. Remember the lady you showed, the heavy lady with the glasses? Everything abolish ICE, abolish the Supreme Court, abolish the presidency. These people are sticking their heads up. So, long story short, Trump is simply taking notes. Obviously, he knows what's going on, but he's taking notes, names and numbers, and there's going to come to a point where everybody gets round up. I'm going to talk about it on the radio show for the people who don't listen on YouTube, about the end game here. So let them do what they do. Let them talk, like you say, let them keep talking. And notes are being taken, investigations are being done, and I don't even want to get into Tim Walz. But look, when a guy tells us Americans, instead of saying the name John or Sam or Tony, he says Abdul is more famous name than all those. He
says it's the most American. I'll play it again when we're done talking. But he said Abdul is the most American name.
This is not only gaslighting to infinity, right in your. He looks right in your eyes and tells you and lies to your faces. Lying is just another tool, or like Pelosi says, it's an arrow in the quiver. Anything they can use as a tool, like people like Grant Platt, anything they can use as a tool against not only us Americans, let alone MAGA, because we are to them, remember, the enemy. So what Trump is going to do now, in the end, he's going to use the law and the Monroe Doctrine to get rid of these people in the end, but he's giving them, like the lady said earlier, he's giving them enough rope.
Yes.
And they're going to hang themselves because they have no choice but to do what they must do. These are evil among us, and they're showing their faces like this little animals sticking their head out of the hole in the African desert. That's who they are, but we see them now, and we're going to keep our eyes on them, and we're going to monitor them until the time comes when they're going to be rounded up. Okay, that's all I'm going to say on that point for now. And I'll get to the end of this story on the radio show so everybody can hear.
Well, you've got me hooked. I'll listen to the radio show on Monday. I won't miss the show. But if I miss the show, there's no show because I'm the one doing the show. But I'm waiting. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Once, twice. All right, you missed your chance. If you're on hold, hang in there. If you'd like to call in, the number's toll-free, 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. You're listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast. This is where MAGA comes to talk, and the Brian Craig Show is available wherever you get podcasts. If you want to catch the show live in video form, where you can see me and hear me and also see all the video I play and call in live, that's on YouTube. Go to YouTube and search for The Brian Craig Show. I'll come right up. So this is Abdul, who's the Muslim guy running for the Senate with the Democratic Socialist of America in Michigan. And this clip I saw this morning, his name's Abdul. Listen. Well, Abdul is an American name, and it's one of the strongest American names. I don't know what America he's talking about, but not the United States of America. Maybe the, South America, United Arab Emirates, I don't know. But Abdul is not an American name, and it's certainly not a powerful American name. If you'd like to support my content, become a Patreon supporter. There's a link in the description of the episode on whatever platform you're listening on. If you become a Patreon supporter, you get access to a lot of exclusive content, including my daily Patreon live streams that are on the Patreon platform. It's a troll-free zone, no liberals allowed, and it's a completely troll-free zone, my Patreon live stream, and I talk about things that I cannot talk about here or anywhere else. And there's a link in the description. Now, if you go there, you have to be a paying Patreon supporter. If you join as a free member, you don't have access to any of the content. You've got to be a paying Patreon supporter, okay? And that starts at just $5, okay? So the link's in the description, and you get access not only to the new live streams and new content, but the entire back catalog. And I've had my Patreon group for many years, so the back catalog goes back for those many years. If you become a top Patreon supporter, you get your name up on the screen on YouTube here and a live on-air thank you shout-out on every episode. So the names you'll hear now are my top Patreon supporters. I want to thank SFjr, Christine, Chuck, Pamela, Nick, Wesley, Doris, Heather, David, Maria in Texas, Alice, LeeZep, Shawna, George, Brandon, John, Frank, Dale, Tina, David, Laura, Rob, Wes, Sue, Janice, Teresa, Irene, Rick, Michael, and Robert. These are my top Patreon supporters. Thank you guys for your support. Yeah, you know, listen, the Democrat socialism is it's going to fade away, but they're going to have some victories. That's just something you got to be prepared for. Now, here in Florida, new poll came out. Byron Donalds is well ahead. The number 2 is the lieutenant governor. And let me see, in the latest poll, but you see these polls, look at this, 562 people. People make such a big deal out of these polls, and hardly anybody is polled, 562, all right? You know, but Byron Donalds is winning. He has just under 50% of the vote. And the second place guy is the lieutenant governor. He's at 15.7. So he's just under 16, and Byron Donalds is just under 50, and it's a 4-way primary. And, you know, Byron Donalds has big shoes to fill because Ron DeSantis has been such a great governor. And he really has. I mean, he betrayed MAGA, he betrayed Trump, but as governor, he's done a lot of good things. But, you know, Byron's endorsed by the president, but the Democrats are panicked about Byron Donalds. You know, Florida has become really the powerhouse state for the Republican Party. And Byron Donalds, he's been in the House for a while, and now he'll be governor. And he may go from governor to the Senate, or he might go from governor to vice president or run for president. And the Democrats are panicked. You know, Byron Donalds, if he wins, and I imagine he will, be the next governor of Florida. I don't see how he couldn't be. But he'll be the first black governor of the state of Florida. And the Democrats do not want high-profile black Republicans, especially MAGA Republicans, winning anything. And so this is going to be a nasty race. It's already gotten a little nasty in Florida. But when we get to the general election, it's going to give it really nasty with Byron Donalds. You're not hearing too much about it now because they know he's going to win the primary, so they don't want to waste it. But there's some things I've talked about with Byron Donalds in his past that they're going to highlight and do everything because a black MAGA Republican becoming the governor of Florida is the worst nightmare of the Democrat Party. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, it's Chris again. Did we get disconnected or did you just end the call?
Is this Chris from California?
Yeah.
I was kind of done talking to you. It's one call per show, but you're on. I mean, do you have something that's good?
Sorry,
I mean, I was moving on to other things,
yeah.
but yeah, when all the calls, if I hang up on you, that's it. But you're back. I'll give you.
I thought it was a mistake.
No, it's not a mistake. The mistake is what I'm doing now, taking the call again. But you're on, and you know, I'll be. You're new to the show, so.
What happened in Ceuta in Spain?
I'll talk to you about it briefly.
Did anything else come out?
What do you mean anything come out? 50,000 Muslims invade a member of NATO? It's a pretty big deal. NATO's under attack.
No. Well, that actually enclave isn't under NATO protection, but
Spain is a Spain. No, excuse me. NATO. Spain is a member of NATO.
Yeah.
Even and that is part of Spain. It's a territory of Spain, and that gives it NATO protections.
It's an enclave of Spain, and it's in Morocco. They
have called in the Spanish military, and we are always there to back up our allies. I mean, I'm sure you're opposed to the attack, aren't you?
The attack on
The
Spain?
invasion. Yeah, the invasion, the Muslim invasion.
Of course, yeah. No, I was confused because it seems so coordinated, and I wonder.
Well, listen, I'm going to move on. It's one call per show. All right, one call per show.
My bad, dude.
All
Okay.
right, take care.
Sorry,
The
bye.
rest of you want to hold stand by. I'll get to some more calls in a bit. I don't have too many rules on the program, but for those of you that are new, all right, the calls are all screenless and unvetted. I don't use a call screener. When you call in, I just put you on hold, okay? And I take the calls in the order in which they were received to the best of my ability, but I lose track because I got so much going on here when I'm on the air. The only rule is basically one call per show. Okay, that's it. I don't think that's too much of a rule to have. You can call every day, but it's only one time per show. And I'm here 7 days a week. Every morning of the week and the weekend, I am here live, and I'm always taking calls when I'm in the studio. So you got plenty of opportunity to talk to me. I wanted to play a few clips, though, of the president from this cabinet meeting yesterday. And that cabinet meeting at Camp David was very good. This is the president talking about Spain.
You know, I saw Spain yesterday, and I watched the catastrophe that took place. It looks like an invasion of a country, like hundreds of thousands of people. And that same thing's going to happen unless the Republicans get elected.
That's right.
Except worse. Much bigger. Much easier to get into. Despite the fact that we had built thousands of miles of wall, which I said we were going to do. But we didn't have that together. But we have the safest border in the world. And we're not in office. Our country will be invaded at levels that made Spain look small time. And when I watched it, I said, boy, I'm going to say it because I knew you were going to be at Camp David. And I say, I'm going to be a talking point for the midterms. Because when you look at what happened to Spain, they don't know what to do. What's happening again today? They're coming in by tens of thousands. They're just invading the country. And what that is weak law, bad management.
Yep.
Very liberal law. They passed a couple of laws, and people read these laws. They read them on the and they swam that 3-mile swim, or however they got in, but nobody's seen anything like it. That will look good compared to what's going to happen to the United States. The biggest thing, the worst thing that Biden did is allowing 25 million people into our country, because many of those people are criminals.
Yeah, and you know what's scary about these Muslim invaders of Spain is that they're doing these interviews at the border telling you that they're criminals. They don't even seem to care. But you know, this is one of the Democrat Socialists. His name's Adam Hamawi. This guy, he defended one of the terrorists from the first World Trade Center attack back in 1993. I tell you, the Democrats, they had the Nazi accused of rape. They got this other guy that, that's having children with his second cousin. I mean, these lowlives that the Democrats are running, they're really scraping the bottom of the barrel. Listen to this guy. Where? I can't understand that accent. This is at the same, this is the Abdul for Senate rally where Abdul said that Abdul's a great American name. But what is that name that he just said, that place? Gaza? Is that how Muslims say Gaza? What did he say? Raza? Is Raza Gaza? I don't know. This is crazy. You know, see, this is this is crazy. You bring a lawyer for a terrorist to come in. You know, the victories he's talking about are primary victories against the Democrats. And, you know, what the Democrats have done, and this is their undoing, and this is how it happened, is they were so desperate, you know, they were so desperate to try to beat Donald Trump that in the Democrat primary, they let Bernie Sanders in the mix, who's not a Democrat. He's a Democrat socialist. They let him in the Democrat debate, and they opened the door to this because they saw them as this new demographic. And now you have this guy at the Abdul rally who's bragging that they're not beating Republicans, they're beating Democrats. So this is an acknowledgement that they're not Democrats. And the Democrats as a party, they could enforce taking these people off the ballots because they are not Democrats. And, you know, Hassan Piker, who's, of course, and the thing with Hassan Piker that is just scary to me, you know, earlier in the show when I described him, I said, Hassan Piker is to the Democrats today what Rush Limbaugh was to the Republicans. And maybe that props him up a little too much. And I don't mean he's as big or as influential as Rush Limbaugh was, but the Democrats have this guy traveling all over the country, even internationally, speaking at their events where they have their candidates. Here's Hassan Piker talking about 9/11.
There is no what you support terrorism, question mark. No, I don't. I don't support the state of Israel. And I don't support the state of the United States of America. America deserved 9/11.
I mean, gee whiz. I mean, they are openly they're openly advocating against the United States and promising its downfall. Is that not treason? Is that not insurrection? Is that not sedition? You know, the Democratic Socialist of America is an illegal political party because they're calling for the overthrow of the United States government. Remember, their party platform said, abolish the presidency and abolish the Senate. If you're abolishing one entire branch of government, that's the executive branch if there's no president, and half of the legislative branch, is that not an overthrow of the United States government? It sounds like one to me. And, you know, all these Democrats who made such a big deal about January 6th and an insurrection, this is a real insurrectionist movement. The Democratic Socialist of America is a party whose platform, their number one thing is the overthrow of the American government. And that, by the way, was the top of the agenda of the Communist Party, USA. So, you know, a caller called in earlier in the show, nice lady called in, and she said, can they legally be stopped? And yes, they can. And they're going to have some victories because these Democrat socialists that won the primaries in New York City are running unopposed or virtually unopposed, right? So they're going to get elected. And I believe the Republicans, we're going to gain seats in the House. We're going to hold on to the Senate and probably gain there too, or at least replace some rhinos with some MAGA, right? Which is our gains as well. I'll count those as gains, right? Like Paxton, you know. But I believe that Mike Johnson, who will be the Speaker of the House after the elections, should refuse to seat these Democrat socialists because their party, they are calling for the overthrow of the American government. If you're calling for an overthrow of the American government, you cannot be seated in Congress because the very platform that you are advocating is contrary to the oath that you must take to be sworn in as a member of the United States House of Representatives. Right? Am I wrong about that? I don't think so. Now, if you guys watching on YouTube could do me the favor of liking the video, that would be great, man. Because when you guys like the video on YouTube, what that does is get the video recommended to people who have not yet found my channel. So please like the video. And those of you that are new to the program, welcome to the show. Please subscribe. You will hear me every morning of the week, all right? Not just the weekdays or the weekends, all 7 days a week. I am here live every morning. most afternoons as well, okay? And you never know when I'm going to pop up. So make sure you subscribe and click that notification bell, okay? My name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Thanks for joining. I'll see you next time.